Have you ever jolted awake at 2 in the morning staring at the dark ceiling, realizing your bladder has hijacked your sleep yet again? And then it happens at 3:30 and again at 5. You drag yourself out of bed, tiptoeing across the cold floor so you do not wake your partner, feeling utterly exhausted before the day has even begun. If you are over the age of 50 and struggling with fragmented sleep, feeling held hostage by your bladder, I want you to know that you are not alone, and more importantly, it is not just a normal part of aging that you have to accept. For years, we have been told by well-meaning friends and health magazines that drinking a tall glass of water right before bed is essential for preventing heart attacks. But what if I told you that this exact piece of advice might be the exact reason your sleep is being destroyed every single night? Today, based on breakthrough insights and research from top institutions like the Mayo Clinic and Harvard Medical School, I am going to show you why changing when you hydrate can drastically reduce your nighttime bathroom trips without a single prescription. Before we uncover this simple, zero-cost habit that could give you back your independence and a full night of restorative sleep, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. If you find this information valuable, leave a like, share it with a friend who might be suffering in silence, and drop a comment below letting me know how many times you usually wake up at night. You might be surprised to see how many people are going through the exact same struggle. Now, let us get straight to the truth. You see, the standard medical approach often hands you a prescription and sends you on your way, but your medications are like a little life raft. They keep you afloat, but they do not teach you how to swim or fix the hole in the boat. We need to look deeper into why your kidneys are working overtime while you are trying to rest. As we age, our bodies undergo subtle shifts. The brain produces less of an antidiuretic hormone at night, which means your kidneys simply do not know it is time to sleep. But instead of fighting your own biology, what if you could work with it? What if you could send your internal organs the right signals using nothing but your daily routine? Let me share an experience that completely shifted my perspective. I recently spoke with William, a 72-year-old retired engineer from Ohio. He was convinced his prostate was completely failing because he was waking up 4 to 5 times a night. The exhaustion was giving him terrible morning brain fog, making him fearful of losing his independence and becoming a burden to his children. He thought his active years were over. But when we looked closely at his daily habits, we found a completely backwards routine. He drank barely any water before noon, and then chugged almost a liter of water after dinner. This is exactly how we accidentally exhaust our kidneys. To truly understand why William's simple shift worked, and why you might be trapped in this cycle, we have to look beyond just the glass of water on your nightstand. Most generic health articles will just tell you to drink less water in the evening, but that is only a fraction of the truth. If you only cut back on water without understanding how your body actually processes hidden fluids, you will still be waking up exhausted. This brings us to a crucial biological secret that completely changes the game. I want to introduce you to Margaret, a 68-year-old retired school teacher from London. Margaret was desperate. The chronic sleep deprivation was not just making her tired. It was causing severe brain fog, memory lapses, and a terrifying fear that she was developing early onset dementia. She was following all the standard advice. She stopped drinking any liquids by 5 in the afternoon. She completely eliminated tea and coffee. Yet night after night, she was still waking up 3 to 4 times. She felt defeated, thinking her bladder was permanently damaged. Why was this happening? The answer has nothing to do with her bladder and everything to do with gravity. It is a physiological mechanism known as dependent edema. According to vascular researchers and studies from leading centers like Harvard Medical School, as we cross into our 60s and 70s, our venous circulation naturally becomes less efficient. Throughout the day, as you sit, stand, and go about your life, gravity pulls fluid down into your lower extremities, your legs, your ankles, and your feet. You might have noticed this yourself. Perhaps your shoes feel a little tighter by dinner time, or you see faint indentations from your socks when you take them off. That is not just normal swelling. That is a hidden reservoir of trapped liquid. Here is the shocking part that your standard doctor's visit rarely covers. What happens when you finally lie down in your comfortable bed? Your body is horizontal. Gravity is no longer pulling that fluid down into your feet. Suddenly, all that trapped water in your lower legs rushes back up into your bloodstream. Your heart pumps this newly returned fluid, and your kidneys immediately detect the excess. They go into absolute overdrive, frantically filtering this fluid out of your blood. So, even if you did not drink a single drop of water for hours, your kidneys are processing a massive amount of hidden liquid right as you are trying to enter deep sleep. Your bladder fills up rapidly, and boom, it is 2 in the morning, and you are rushing to the bathroom once again. So, how do we outsmart this biological trap without spending a dime on medications? We use the exact same force against it, gravity. We call this the pre-bed elevation trick. Roughly 2 to 3 hours before you intend to go to sleep, sit in your favorite recliner or lie on the couch and elevate your legs so they are above the level of your heart. Do this for just 30 to 45 minutes while reading a book or watching your favorite evening show. This simple, zero-cost postural shift forces the fluid out of your legs and back into your kidneys while you are still awake and active. You will process that hidden fluid, use the bathroom once or twice before you actually get into bed, and your kidneys will finally be able to power down and rest when you do. For Margaret, this one adjustment was the miracle she had been praying for. Combined with her hydration timing, she went from 4 agonizing nighttime awakenings to sleeping peacefully straight through until 6 in the morning. She reclaimed her energy, her memory sharpened, and that terrifying fear of losing her mind completely vanished. But here is the catch. Elevating your legs and timing your water intake will be completely useless if your evening meals contain one specific hidden ingredient that acts as a powerful involuntary diuretic. And no, I am not talking about sugar or caffeine. This is a common dietary staple that forces your kidneys to flush water out of your cells at the worst possible time. You might think you are eating a healthy light dinner to prepare your body for a good night of rest. A warm bowl of soup, perhaps a sandwich with lean turkey on whole wheat bread. But here's the brutal truth that most people completely miss. That seemingly innocent evening meal could be the very thing forcing you out of bed at 3 in the morning. The hidden enemy I am talking about is invisible sodium. We are not just talking about the salt shaker on your dining table. We are talking about the massive amounts of hidden sodium packed into everyday processed foods, canned soups, deli meats, and even commercial breads. Let me introduce you to Thomas, a 65-year-old former architect from Texas. Thomas was doing everything right. He stopped drinking water at 6 in the evening. He elevated his legs. Yet, he was still rushing to the bathroom 3 times a night. He felt completely defeated, wondering if his body was simply broken. When we analyzed his routine, we found the culprit. Thomas loved having a simple bowl of canned vegetable soup for dinner, thinking it was a light, healthy choice. He had no idea that a single can contain over 1,000 milligrams of sodium. Here's the physiological mechanism you need to understand, and this is backed by extensive data from top medical researchers. When you consume a high amount of sodium in the evening, your bloodstream becomes overly concentrated with salt. To protect your organs, your body desperately holds onto any available water to dilute that salt. It is a biological process called osmosis. Your body acts like a sponge, trapping fluid in your tissues. Then, hours later, as your body slowly processes and filters that heavy sodium load through your kidneys, it releases all that trapped water directly into your bladder. You are essentially creating a delayed release flood in your own urinary tract while you are trying to sleep. This is why you can stop drinking water for hours and still produce a surprising amount of urine in the middle of the night. The solution is what we call the sodium sunset strategy. You do not have to give up your favorite foods. You just have to change when you eat them. Shift your heavier, saltier meals to lunch. For dinner, focus on fresh, whole foods with 0 added sodium. Cook with herbs, garlic, and spices instead. For Thomas, simply swapping his canned evening soup for a fresh chicken salad cooked at home changed his life. Within 5 days, his body stopped hoarding water at night, and he finally slept a full 7 hours straight. By combining the hydration cutoff, the leg elevation, and the sodium sunset strategy, you are taking back massive control over your bladder. But even if you master all 3 of these habits perfectly, there is one final silent trigger that could still be waking you up. It happens the very second your head hits the pillow, and it has everything to do with the exact angle of your upper body. If you are sleeping completely flat, you might be making a critical mistake. Let us uncover why in the next section. So, you have mastered the 2-hour hydration cutoff. You have started elevating your legs in the late afternoon. You even implemented the sodium sunset strategy and swapped out those salty canned soups. But for some of you, there is still that one stubborn trip to the bathroom right around 3 or 4 in the morning. This brings us to the final, most surprising piece of the puzzle, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what you are putting into your body. It has everything to do with how you are positioning your body the moment you close your eyes. Let me share the story of Richard, a 71-year-old retired teacher from Boston. Richard had followed all the hydration and dietary rules perfectly, yet his sleep was still fragmented. He was incredibly frustrated, feeling like his body was just working against him. When we looked at his sleeping setup, we found the hidden trigger. Richard was sleeping completely flat on his back with only a very thin pillow. According to researchers at the Cleveland Clinic and the Sleep Foundation, when you lie completely flat, especially if you carry a little extra weight around your neck or struggle with mild snoring, your airway can become partially obstructed. Your body has to work twice as hard to pull in oxygen. This creates a negative pressure in your chest cavity. Here is where the biology gets absolutely fascinating and where the standard medical advice usually falls short. That pressure in your chest actually tricks your heart into thinking there is too much fluid in your body. In response, your heart releases a specific hormone called atrial natriuretic peptide. This hormone travels straight down to your kidneys, screaming at them to flush out water immediately. Your kidneys obey the command, your bladder fills up rapidly, and you are jolted awake in the dark. You are not waking up because you drank too much water or because your prostate is failing. You are waking up because your sleeping angle is sending a false distress signal to your heart and kidneys. The clever, zero-cost trick to fix this is incredibly simple. You need to adjust your sleeping angle. By elevating the head of your bed by just a few inches, or using a specialized wedge pillow to gently lift your upper body, you change the entire gravitational dynamic of your chest. This slight elevation opens up your airway, takes the stress off your heart, and completely stops that false hormone signal from ever reaching your kidneys. For Richard, adding a supportive wedge pillow was the final key. The very first night he tried it, he slept entirely through the night for the first time in over 5 years. He woke up feeling sharp, energized, and completely in control of his life again. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and realizing the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and you have not left your bed once since you laid down. Think about the peace of mind that brings, not just to you, but to your spouse who no longer has to hear you pacing the hallways in the dark. Think about having the mental clarity and physical energy to play with your grandchildren or take a long morning walk without feeling that deep, heavy exhaustion pulling you down. Eating does not mean you have to surrender your independence to a weak bladder or live your golden years in a state of constant fatigue. Your body is an incredibly intelligent system. When you understand its biological signals, instead of just numbing them with medications, you can guide it back to perfect balance. Start with the afternoon leg elevation. Implement the sodium sunset. Respect the 2-hour hydration rule and adjust your sleeping angle. You have the power to reclaim your restorative sleep starting tonight. We have completely decoded the mechanical and dietary triggers that interrupt your rest. You now know about the 2-hour hydration cutoff, the afternoon leg elevation trick, the sodium sunset strategy, and the vital importance of adjusting your sleeping angle. But if we stop here, I would be doing you a massive disservice. There is one final invisible barrier that keeps millions of older adults awake, and it is a phenomenon that researchers at Johns Hopkins University refer to as anticipatory sleep anxiety. This is the ultimate high-information secret that bridges the gap between your physical body and your mind. Let me introduce you to Elizabeth, a 65-year-old former registered nurse from Chicago. Because of her background in healthcare, Elizabeth was highly disciplined. She implemented every single physical habit we discussed. Her legs were elevated, her sodium was low, and she stopped drinking fluids right at 6 in the evening. Yet, she found herself waking up at exactly 3 in the morning every single night with a racing heart and a sudden urgent need to use the bathroom. Elizabeth felt completely betrayed by her own body. The truth was, her bladder was not actually full. Her brain was simply trapped in a psychological loop. For years, she had conditioned her body to expect a disruption at 3 in the morning. When you wake up constantly over months or years, your brain associates your bed with stress and frustration rather than restorative sleep. This chronic frustration triggers a subtle release of cortisol, the stress hormone, right in the middle of the night. Here is the biological reality. Cortisol acts as a mild, involuntary diuretic. When your brain is anxious about waking up to pee, that very anxiety forces your kidneys to produce more urine. It is a cruel, self-fulfilling prophecy. To break this cycle, Elizabeth had to implement the final zero-cost habit, thermal deep sleep induction. According to international sleep science data, your body needs to drop its core temperature by 1 to 2 degrees to enter deep, slow-wave sleep. When you are in deep sleep, your brain maximizes the production of the anti-diuretic hormone, naturally commanding your kidneys to pause their filtration process. If your room is even slightly too warm, you stay in light sleep, your stress hormones remain active, and your bladder remains highly sensitive. Elizabeth turned her bedroom thermostat down to exactly 65 degrees Fahrenheit and swapped her heavy blankets for breathable, layered cotton. The result was astonishing. By forcing her body into a state of deep, cool rest, her brain finally released the right hormones. The cortisol dropped, the anxiety faded, and her kidneys completely powered down. Within 2 weeks, the 3 in the morning awakenings disappeared entirely. She found freedom in a full night of rest and successfully reclaimed her mornings. I want you to listen to me very carefully right now. Aging does not mean you have to surrender your dignity or your independence to an overactive bladder. You do not have to live in fear of the dark hallway or worry about becoming a burden to your family. Your body is a remarkably intelligent, self-healing system. When you stop fighting its biology and start supporting its natural rhythms, incredible things happen. Let us review your new blueprint for a perfect night of sleep. Number 1, enforce the 2-hour hydration cutoff to give your kidneys a head start. Number 2, elevate your legs for 30 minutes in the late afternoon to process trapped fluids. Number 3, practice the sodium sunset strategy by keeping your evening meals fresh and salt-free. Number 4, elevate your upper body slightly to prevent false heart signals. And number 5, keep your bedroom cool at 65 degrees to guarantee deep, restorative sleep. I invite you to try this simple evening routine starting tonight. It is entirely up to you, but your body might thank you tomorrow morning. You have the power, the knowledge, and the exact science-backed roadmap to take back control of your golden years. I wish you a beautiful, uninterrupted, and truly restorative night of sleep. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.